last time I went out for a meal, I asked for a rare steak, so they grilled me a panda. While we're talking about sci-fi plots, I did forget when I made my Faith video that this contains a whole load of plots. Now, before we get stuck in, I just want to say that I've had some really nice comments on my videos over the past few days, and I've found them really encouraging, so that's been brilliant. Thank you for that. Now, I've managed to paint one of my gnomes, so that's a start. So this is Chumley Potwasher. He is I started him off at level 3, because I think Geek Gamers suggested starting at a higher level to give yourself a bit more of a chance, a few more hit points and that kind of thing. So that's where he's starting. He's got some, he's quite strong, good constitution. So, and I've come up with a little backstory. I used my story world cards, and I picked the tin soldier, and this tin soldier had wandered off, and he's wandering through the wilderness and stuff, and it made me think of an idea for Chumley here, because he's quite grumpy. I wanted, well, I've just put, Chumley was ostracised from his hometown of Lurgenberg, where he had worked in a factory because he was falsely blamed for the loss of a valuable automaton, which had in fact wandered off of its own accord. So Chumley left his life in the town and set out to prove himself and hopefully track down the wandering automaton. Due to the way he was treated in his current solitary life, he finds it hard to trust people and forge friendships. He prefers to avoid populated areas and spends most of his time wandering the wilderness looking for signs of the wandering automaton. So he's a bit grumpy, and he wanders the wilderness trying to prove himself as a hero. Now, I thought what Chumley could do as he's on his travels, he has to pop into the town of Oakhurst to get a few supplies, and while he's there he finds out the story of the Sunless Citadel, which is a rather impressive looking dungeon here. So he's a bit tempted to go and have a look at that, because there's some weird stuff going on there, particularly involving goblins. And once every year on midsummer, the goblins who live in the ruins of the Sunless Citadel ransom a piece of fruit, a piece of magical fruit, to the local town of Oakhurst, and it has the magical properties of being able to heal any illness or ailment. But when the village folk try to plant any of the seeds within the fruit, they grow to about 2 feet high, these twig things, and then they disappear after about 2 weeks. And people think that the goblins are stealing them back, but that's another story. So Chumley is on his way to the ruins of the Sunless Citadel to sneakily gain access and have a look around to see if he can find the secret of the fruit, what the goblins are up to, and about the origins of the Sunless Citadel itself. So the old road passes to the east of a narrow ravine. At the road's closest approach to the cleft, several broken pillars jut from the earth, where the ravine widens and opens into something more akin to a deep but narrow canyon. 2 of the pillars stand straight, but most of them lean against the sloped earth. Others are broken, and several have apparently fallen into the darkness-shrouded depths. A few similar pillars, are visible on the opposite side of the ravine. So there's this massive ravine, and it looks a bit like that. We can see a piece of old rope there tied up. So Chumley can try and climb down this ledge. Now, conveniently, it has the difficulty classes for the various checks you need to do, and we can do those with basic fantasy. So what we need to do, players can easily climb down the knotted rope. So I think that's what he's going to do. DC 0, so he easily climbs down onto this ledge. A sandy ledge overlooks a subterranean gulf of darkness to the west. The ledge is wide but rough. Sand, rocky debris, and the bones of small animals cover it. A roughly hewn stairwell zigzags down the edge of the ledge, descending into darkness. Now is Chumley going to be surprised by this giant rat leaping out of the darkness? No, he's okay. Now, so we roll initiative. Chumley will be purple, the rat will be red. Chumley goes first this time. So Chumley can move 20 feet per round. 5, 10. And he's going to launch at this rat with his mace. Now he gets +3 to hit to try and get the rat's armor class of 13. That's alright, 18. Now then we do d8 damage with a +2 to the damage. Oops. Okay, that's 4. That's enough to kill the giant rat. So that was just a taste of the things to come. Now I'm using my 3 dice oracle. So this represents negatives, these represent positives. And if the character has a particular advantage in something, then they might get a bonus die to use as another positive. Or if they're going through Mordor and Sauron's got his fighting trousers on, they might only get 1 positive die. So Chumley's going to have a little search around and see if he can find anything useful amongst the detritus on this ledge. Any clues maybe? Yes, he does find something useful. And there's just little rocks and things and general rubbish. So it's probably going to be a pocket filler. Just a little item that we might find, which in this case is a piece of chalk. That might be useful to an adventurer like us. Now Chumley is able to make his way carefully down the switchback stairs from this ledge. At the edge of sight, a fortress top emerges from the darkness. The subterranean citadel, though impressive, seems long forgotten. If the lightless windows, cracked crenellations and leaning towers are any indication, all is quiet, though a cold breeze blows up from below, bringing with it the scent of dust and a faint trace of rot. So we're able to make our way safely down these stairs. The narrow stairs empty into a small courtyard, apparently the top of what was once a crenellated battlement. The buried citadel has sunk so far into the earth that the battlement is now level with the surrounding cavern floor. The floor stretches away to the north and south, and it is apparently composed of a layer of treacherous crumbled masonry, which reaches to an unknown depth. To the west looms the surviving structure of what must be the Sunless Citadel. A tower stands on the west side of the courtyard. Now I'm going to start deviating from the adventure a little bit here, because there's another dire rat wandering around, and we don't want yet another one. So there's also a trap. So I'm going to try and work out how to deal with those. So is there a monster about? Remember, negative things, positive things. There is a monster about. So I'm going to go to the dungeon encounters in Basic Fantasy and roll d12 on the level 1 chart and see what we get. That's a 9. That is a snake, a cobra. I'm going to roll 2d6 times 10 feet to see how far away is this thing. 70 feet. Okay. Well, let's say it's at the other end here. Now this is a spitting cobra, so it's kind of a bit dangerous. It can shoot venom up to 5 feet away. And is the cobra surprised? Yes, it is. It doesn't know we're here yet. Are we surprised by the cobra? No. Okay, maybe we can... I guess we won't be able to sneak by it, but at least... maybe we will. Perhaps if Chumley fires a sling stone over here to distract it, he can then make his way through to the tower. How likely is it that that will happen? I'll just roll the fate dice. Will that work? Yes, it will. Both the positive dice are higher than the negative one, so it shoots off over here, which is something. And now we need to make our way in But is the masonry dangerous, or is there a trap? Because there is in the book, but we'll see. No, it's just dodgy going, I'll say, because that's quite high, but we do beat it. But maybe we'll make a dexterity check and see if we get across safely without any injuries. So I'm going to use my 5th edition dungeon difficulty classes here. This could be moderate, I think. So with our frankly rubbish dexterity with a -1, we'll try and get a 15. Ooh, only just missed. Let's say D3 damage. So that's just 1 damage. So we managed to scramble across, twisting our ankle, but we make it. So we've come into a sort of tower here. The circular area is cobbled with cracked granite, upon which sprawl 4 goblins, all apparently slain in combat. One stands with its back against the western wall, the killing spear still skewering it and holding it upright. 3 wooden doors lead off from the area. Okay, typo. Above, a hollow tower of loose masonry reaches 30 feet, but the intervening floors and stairs are gone, except for a couple of crumbled ledges. And it says here that the bodies are looted of all valuables, but each of the goblins still has a short sword, so I was going to search the bodies, but yeah, we don't find anything. Okay, we're going to have a search of the room, I think. Do we find anything useful? Is there anything useful to find? No, we don't find anything. Okay. So in the adventure there is a secret door, but not in our version because there's nothing. So as we've examined the goblins, we do get to see that there is an inscription behind the one that was stuck in the wall with a spear that says Ashardalon. So let's hope we don't come up against that. We're going to head for this door and see what's through here. The masonry walls of this 20-foot wide hall are in poor repair. The far end is especially bad, as it has completely collapsed, filling the southern section with rubble. The western wall is in much better shape than the other walls, and it holds a stone door with a rearing dragon carved in relief upon it. The door contains a single keyhole, which is situated in the rearing dragon's open mouth. So are there any creatures in here? No. No. Is there anything useful we might find if we search? A little bit of something. Nothing amazing, but a little thing perhaps. We're all on the mundane treasure chart in Table Fables 44. A set of 1d6 bottles of paint. What a strange thing. Two bottles of paint. Must be very old paint. Okay. But nothing else. And we examine the door, and it says in the book that there are only very limited ways to open this, and certainly nothing within Chumley's power right at this moment, so we're at a bit of a dead end in this room for the moment. So as we take the northwest door out of the tower instead, we come to this corridor. This door is firmly locked. This door is open, but inside is only a small chamber that's completely empty and just full of rubble. But now we could have a rummage around, see if there's any small bits we could find. Basically scavenging here, but no, that's a big red 6 there. So we can't find anything of any use in that room, so we go to the end of the corridor and see what's there. Crudely executed symbols and glyphs scribed in bright green dye decorate this large and irregularly shaped crumbling chamber. A large pit in the chamber's centre shows evidence of a recent bonfire. A metallic cage in the centre of the southern wall contains a gaping hole and stands empty. A small wooden bench draped with green cloth stands before the cage, and upon it sit several small objects. A bedroll lies near the wooden bench, from which the sound of whimpering is plainly audible. So clearly this doesn't look like the kind of character who'd be willing to rush into a fight, so we may have some opportunity to gain some good information here, and probably some help as well. Now, reading in the book, it says that characters will automatically succeed in diplomacy with this guy who will be willing to talk to them, and he will explain that the clan's dragon, we've lost our dragon, the wretched goblin stole Crowcrick's, our dragon. So he's very upset because he is the keeper of the dragon, or he was, and he misses his pet, and as he's no longer got a job to do, he's feeling really in the doldrums, and he's certainly in trouble with the well, he's got nothing to do, so we ask him for help, if he can tell us any information about the Citadel. And he says, Meepo don't know, but the leader does. Meepo tell you to meet the leader, Yustrail, if you make nice. Grant you safe passage if you promise not to hurt Meepo. Maybe if you promise to rescue dragon, leader make nice to you, answer your questions. So it looks like we have a good opportunity here to gain the upper hand on these mysterious goblins by helping out the kobolds, and hopefully tracking down their dragon, maybe. A short throne stands near the west wall, constructed of fallen bits of masonry stacked against an altar. A small horned figure in red-dyed robes sits in the throne, and a force of 6 similar creatures guards her. The altar's top contains a variety of small items, while the portion of the altar that serves as the throne's back features a carving of a rearing dragon. A metallic key is held firmly in the rearing dragon's open mouth. The putrid goblins stole our dragon, says Yustrail. If you return the dragon to us, I shall grant you a reward. Meepo will accompany you. Well, it says here that even the reward could extend to the key in the dragon's mouth, which could allow us to access the other part of the dungeon which we couldn't get through before. So we will gladly agree to track down the dragon with our new friend Meepo for the Queen. Well, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm going to be reading some classic science fiction to try and improve my plot ideas.